Okay, so we're
definitely.
going to get started. I'm Christina Bottego from Common Cause. We're doing this in partnership with SUNY Albany. Are you guys? You guys hear that? So for those of you who didn't hear, I'm Christina Bottego from Common Cause New York. And this is our discussion on Do the Wealthy Dominate Our Elections? And we have 3 guest speakers. I'll allow them to take about 2 minutes to introduce themselves and their organizations. And also, if you have questions along the way, feel free to ask them instead of holding them till the end. Make it more conversational, so feel free to jump in.
And if it helps, we could stand. I have a very loud voice, so everybody will probably hear me no matter what's going on tonight. But if you prefer, just tell us to stand up.
So, Barbara, you want to start?
Sure. My name is Barbara Bartoletti. I am Legislative Director for the New York State League of Women Voters. The League has been engaged in lobbying for considering campaign finance reform to be important for state government for probably 3 or 4 decades now. Or maybe since the beginning. I haven't been there since the beginning, but at least in the decades that I have worked for the League, this is one of the issues that is always at the top of our government reform agenda. We lobby in the legislature. This session, we spent a good deal of time in the governor's office helping to craft legislation. It has not actually ended up in legislation. It is a proposal. We didn't get everything we want. We never do. I think we would prefer to have gotten more in this proposal than we actually think we're getting, and none of that is cut in stone. As any of you who are hoping to maybe go into government, one of the things you understand right from the get-go is that there are tensions between political parties, between leadership, between governor and the executive branch and the legislative branch, and so it always becomes tension for those of us in the good government arena. How much is enough? What is too little? So we have those tensions going on all the time. But our steadfast commitment, long term, is to public financing of elections. Short term, because I will be very honest with you, like other states in the United States, this state does not have the money to fund completely public financing of campaigns. And you need to set up the apparatus to do that, and I think there is someone here today to talk about what New York City has done with their campaign finance board. But right now, our short-term goal in New York State is to close some of the very egregious loopholes and lower campaign contributions. And indeed, I think I can quickly, in one word, give you the answer to the question Christina posed, and that is, do the wealthy control our elections? Yes, indeed, they do.
Thanks. One thing people who spend a lot of time already know they don't have to worry about is whether Barbara will be heard. What they don't know about is whether the legislature will be smart enough to listen. But she talked about being there from a beginning. I've been writing about campaign finance since Watergate, which is not quite the beginning, but it's kind of the beginning. Subject. I joined the SUNY faculty in 1990, and I've been here ever since. Started the Washington semester for SUNY in 1998, and been splitting my location since then. Started the Campaign Finance Institute in Washington a year later. The Campaign Finance Institute is a nonprofit research institute affiliated with George Washington University. It has a board made up of, it's not merely some nonpartisan in the sense that there are Republicans and Democrats and independents, which they are, but there are conservative Republicans and moderate Republicans and progressive Democrats and so on and so on, and people who have different positions on McCain Feingold. We have a commitment that whatever we publish and recommend should be based on the best scholarship we can do. It may not be right, but that's because we make a mistake, not because we're trying to make a pitch. We published dozens of reports and many books, 2 major books on federal campaign finance, and we've been identified on the federal level with policy initiatives on disclosure, as well as, for example, we're in the middle of a FLAC this week, and there are a couple of pieces of paper that are not enough to go around about Senate electronic disclosure. 2 days ago, Senator Feinstein tried to move it on the floor again, and we finally exposed who the objector was. We're pushing that issue. We're also identified with a major effort to revive the presidential public funding system. In recent years, we started some work on state and local campaign finance. The biggest piece of that is what we call the Small Donor Project, the subtitle, or academics, we have to have subtitles. The subtitle is Empowering Democracy Through Participation. And I hope to talk more about that as we go on.
I'm Amy Lipcrest. I'm the Executive Director of the New York City Campaign Finance Board. The New York City Campaign Finance Program was started about 20 years. It was born of some scandals, and like many campaign finance reforms, scandals that had nothing to do with campaign financing, but a government scandal is always a good time to call for campaign financing. The Campaign Finance Board is a nonpartisan 5-member board, selected 2 members selected by the mayor of the city of New York, 2 members selected by the speaker of the New York City Council. Those 2 members have to be of opposite political parties, not opposite, but different political parties. And the chair is selected by the mayor after consultation with the speaker of the city council. The board has 3 mandates. First, we administer the New York City Campaign Finance Program, which is what I'll probably spend most of my time talking about. It regulates the contribution size and spending of candidates for 5 municipal offices in New York City: mayor, controller, public advocate, borough president, and New York City council member. It has, in 2005, our jurisdiction was expanded to cover all candidates for New York City office. So now all candidates are bound by our contribution limits and our disclosure requirements. Obviously, because of the Constitution, the Supreme Court's interpretation of the Constitution, we can't have only people who voluntarily join the public financing program are subject to spending limits. But we have significantly lower contribution limits than the state level, and now all candidates for city office are covered by them. In addition, the board runs a debate program for citywide offices, and it's mandatory for people to participate in the public financing program. And also, we print a voter guide that goes to every registered voter in the city of New York, once for the primary, and then once again in the general election.
Amy, what has always fascinated me, actually, is a considerable number of state legislators, especially in our assembly, come from New York City.